Join me this and every Tuesday as we discuss various interesting topics and take a look at the current happenings on our island and in our region. Just before you go your bed, let's touch on the points with your host, Connie J.E., right here on Flashpoint Radio. Join me this and every Tuesday at 7 to 8:30 p.m. as we discuss various interesting topics and take a look at the current happenings on our island and in our region. Just before you go to your bed, let's touch on the points with your host, Connie J.E., right here on Flashpoint Radio. Yes, and welcome back to another Just Before You Got Your Bed. Hey, Connie J.E. in the house. We'll be rocking it tonight together. I know it's been a while. I have missed you. Yes, indeed. But I'm going to share something with you. Say all along my birth paper did that trick me. I tell me lie. Because all this time I've been telling you I was 27. I thought I was 27. And then, I was sick the other day. That's why you never really see me. A little bit of sickness. And that's when I found out I was 30. The delusion. Oh my gosh. But here we are again with each other. We're going to have some fun. We're touching on the points. We realize that in society today, so many things are happening. Persons are changing plans. Persons are changing their whole lifestyle based on what society says. It's the norm, it's the thing. So tonight we'll be talking about, the anxiety and depression. We're going to be diving in to get the understanding. But before we do, I want to give them a shout out. How we do it here at Just Before You Got Your Bed. To all our VIP members, those of you who are here in Grand Cayman and across the world, just want to say a big shout out to you and thank you so much for being part of Flashpoint Media. Those of you who have already joined the birthday club, if you haven't done so yet, listen, you're missing out, because there's a lot of things we'll be doing. Remember, we'll be creating your own playlist for the day of your birthday. You get discounts from Flashpoint Media, 25%. So anything Flashpoint Media that you would like to happen for your birthday, we're here for you. So remember to log on, to subscribe. Yes, indeed. So as we talk about that, if you haven't done so, grab your phones even now. Yes. Click on that link. I want you to subscribe. I want you to like and absolutely help us be the hands and feet of Christ by sharing this link. I'll wait 2 minutes. Yeah, I see you. You in the black t-shirt. Yes. Or click the link. Nice. I love it. I love all my friends out there. You are so obedient. So I love it. So I'll be going on and I'm looking at everybody that subscribed today. And of course, remember, if you have any questions at all or any ideas or topics you'd like for us to talk about, please send them in the link and we'll reach out to you and we'll do it for you. Yes, right here at Flashpoint Media. Now, I have a gentleman in house. Listen, you remember, for those of you who are in Jamaica, hear about brain box. Brain box. Well, he has a brain bigger than a box, may I tell you. So when we come back after this commercial break, I'm going to introduce you to the man. the man that will be sitting in with me so we can break it down and understand all about anxiety and depression. Yeah. So, to those of you who are celebrating birthdays, shout out to you. Mackie, Merle, Kirk, Carl, all of you who are tuning in from Jamaica, the US, the United Kingdom, Andrea, all of you, and right here at home, thank you so much for tuning in. So, keep it locked. We'll be right back. Deals your way. Cars of all sizes with weekly, monthly, along with daily rentals of $25 per day. They're reliable, dependable, with friendly staff, free pickup and delivery. You can't get it any better than this. Call us at 936-1177 and allow Breezeville Rent-A-Car to blow the wind of hassle on its way. Breezeville Rent-A-Car. It's a breeze of a deal. Conditions apply. Join me this and every Tuesday at 7 to 8:30 p.m. as we discuss various interesting topics and take a look at the current happenings on our island and in our region. Just before you go to your bed, let's touch on the points with your host, Connie J.E., right here on Flashpoint Radio. Yes, welcome back to Just Before You Go to Your Bed. I'm your host, Connie J.E. Tonight we'll be talking about understanding anxiety and depression. And tonight the man in the house to help us do that is none other than Pastor Dr. Shion O'Connor. I'm going to tell you a little bit about this brain box. I have known him. It's now 2025. He came to Grand Cayman, to the Cayman Islands, in 2000, and so it's almost 25 years that I've known him. Yes, I know him. So I have to emphasize that I know him, because this is when you have celebrity, you just want the whole world to know. So you know a celebrity. I know celebrity. Yes, indeed. And when he came, he was a pastor for both the King's and the West Bay churches. But I know King's Church was the church, the church. Because 12 years, the church for him. Pastor O'Connor, when he arrived here, at the conference, he was director for various departments: the men's ministries, family life, public affairs and religious liberty, personal ministries, before he was elected president in January of 2012. And then Pastor O'Connor became a member of the Cayman Islands Constitution Modernization Committee, as well as a member of the Constitutional Negotiation Team, as well as the Commission for Standards in Public Life. So he knows what he's talking about here. And of course, when it comes to brains, here it is. He graduated with a master's degree in human services, specializing in marriage, couples, and family counsel from Capella University. This man has a Bachelor of Law degree with honors from 2005 and a Bachelor of Arts in Religion from, of course, Northern Caribbean University. Then Pastor O'Connor decided, hey, let's get the box bigger. And he left the Cayman Islands in 2018 when he graduated from California Southern University with a Doctor of Psychology in Clinical Psychology. So now he's also successfully registered as a clinical psychologist right here in the Cayman Islands. Flashpoint knows how to give you benefits because you don't have to pay. It's free. I got him in here. This is the perks of knowing celebrities. Just check Flashpoint. Now I'll tell you something even greater. The Cayman Islands Conference of Seventh-day Adventist Executive Committee appointed Dr. O'Connor to develop a new and well-needed counseling and mental health service to benefit the residents of the Cayman Islands. Yes, indeed. And of course, if you're overseas and you need someone to talk to, fly on in. We're giving you a 2-for-1 deal. The man with the plan, guided by the Holy Spirit, and the best of one of the Caribbean islands anywhere this side of the Kala region. Pastor O'Connor, I will tell you, has committed himself to making his contribution in improving the mental health of all who reside here in the Cayman Islands. So just before you go to your bed, have the best man, the man, Pastor Dr. Shion O'Connor. So help me welcome him as we get into the anxiety and depression. Good night.
Man, you're giving me anxiety.
You see, Pastor, I know a lot of persons, they don't really want the whole, list that you're telling them all about. But the thing is, I know that persons, when we're talking about like a topic like this is kind of soft and tender for some people. Yeah. They want to know what you're coming with. Yeah. Should I sit and listen? Does it make sense? Yeah. Does this person know what he's talking about? So I decided that I needed to let our listeners understand the man that's bringing the information to them. So welcome to Just Before You Got Your Bed. It's not going to be the first time, eh?
Thank you very much. I like the name tag here, Just Before You Got Your Bed.
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know who came up with that, but that's a very fascinating title for your program. Yeah. Exciting. Yeah. It's good to be here. I don't know about the brain box, but
yes, man. Because Pastor, it's years it takes to put masters and law and counseling. I have always said to people that because I'm planning on getting married.
Oh, great. Excellent.
Planning on getting married, right? Yeah. And I said, I've always said it. I said, when I, when the Lord has put the partner that I need, with me, I says, wherever Pastor O'Connor is, he's who I'm going to do counseling with. I'm going to face you and tell you all why. If Pastor O'Connor, I tell it all the time, I say, if I go to counseling, marital counseling with Pastor O'Connor, and he says to me, run.
Yeah, run.
I am not going to ask him why. My only question will be, will I know when to stop? Because I have seen how the Holy Spirit have worked through you in this capacity. Amen. Yeah?
And it's amazing that I've come across so many people who, years ago, they were in counseling session, and I'd say to them, I'm not too sure that what you guys have here is sufficient to make you happy in the relationship. Or sometimes you see certain behavioral pattern that you know is likely to be disastrous down the road, and your job is to point that out to the individuals and to say, hey, you may want to take a break on this one. You may want to catch a reverse gear a little, because there are so many red flags, So many people, there are a number of times when people ignore it because they're so full of love, and they can't see what the counselor is saying, and they press ahead, and then years down the road they'll come back and say, I wish I had taken your counsel, I wish I had taken your advice. But because really, when you're doing counseling, you really want to ensure that the couple in front of you understand the issues that will face them, and what they're getting into, and that they are prepared for it. Yes. Right? because all couples will have some challenge, some challenges down the way. Is how you prepare for it, and if you're not prepared for it, then you're gonna have a problem.
Oh, yes,
A
absolutely.
problem. But
Absolutely.
yeah, congratulations. I hope I'll be more than well.
Pastor, I don't know who yet, you know.
I like that. Speak it into
Yes,
speak
yes,
it
yes.
into reality.
Yes,
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 yes, yes.
yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
It has to start with that hope and that aspiration.
Yes, I
Yes,
feel
yes.
like when I'm there,
Yes.
I could probably make a billboard, like
Yes.
a plaque, you know, and I could go by Owen Roberts
Yes.
International Airport
And put
when
it
the
up.
flight coming in, and my sign will say, "Anyone want permanent residence? Sign up here." So I'll talk to you about that off the air, because I know
And permanent residence now has dual application.
right? So it might be a
Interesting.
thing possible. We'll talk about
Yes,
it.
yes,
But you
yes.
see, I remember a time I lost my grandmother, and this is my father's mom. She raised me,
Yes.
and I couldn't talk about her for years without crying. Tears, you know, it was just like automatic. I felt I didn't want to go out anymore. It was, you know, persons were like, oh, you know, you're the life of the party, or persons in us. And even when I was out in social environment, you saw the smile, but I was dying on the
Yes.
inside, and I did not know how to really share what I was feeling. But isolation did well for me, though I was a social butterfly, you know what I mean? And I had that conflict. And I know a lot of persons now is even greater in this time. I want you to share with our audience what's the difference between anxiety and depression? What was I facing? Was that total depression? Was going out in public? Was that the anxiety attached? How do we know them differently?
Okay. So what you were describing was much like grief rather than depression.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to come back to come back to anxiety in a few minutes.
Okay.
But what you were describing is more like grief, and some people tend to mix up grief, right? To confuse grief with clinical anxiety. They have similar symptoms, but they have also fundamental differences. So, for example, you did mention that it was your grandma who died,
Yes.
right? So something triggers that grief, and so grief is a natural response to loss, right? So whether it's be death or divorce or a loss of job or a loss of a friendship, people normally feel sad about it, and they may cry. They may not want to talk to anybody. They may want to be by themselves. Some people grieve by themselves. Other people grieve with people around them. Yeah. And so that's usually temporary. Sometimes it may last for a couple of months, but it's usually temporary. Depression it's a different thing. Depression continues. It's much longer than grief. It does not have to include a loss of something. It can be caused by chemical imbalance in the brain. It can be caused by situational circumstances. But it's a persistent feeling of sadness, of gloom, and it comes with a sense of worthlessness. It comes with a sense of hopelessness, which is a key word when we're looking for clinical depression. Sense of hopelessness, the loss of interest in things you usually enjoy, games you usually play, friends you usually hang out with. You don't want to see anybody, you don't want to interact with anybody, you just want to draw the curtains and be by yourself. And so that's more of a depressive situation than anxiety. Now anxiety and depression, I like to describe them as bread and butter, right? Yeah, or bun and cheese for those of you from Jamaica, right? They tend to go together. It's rarely when you see somebody depressed and there's no anxiety there. They tend to. There's always what we call a comorbidity of one associating with the other. Yes.
Okay.
So anxiety deals much more. Anxiety is not the sadness or the isolation or the loss of energy or the loss of feelings for things that you normally enjoy. Anxiety is more the fear factor. So once you talk about anxiety, you really when you drill that down, you're really looking at fear. Okay, fear of something. Something there, and so anxiety has a long list of different types of anxiety, right? So I call it a family. There's a big family of anxiety. So individuals may be fearful but if you ask them, what are you fearful of? They can't put their finger on it, right? They're just fearful that something bad is going to happen, or they're just fearful of things not going to work out, or they're just fearful they're not going to die, or they're fearful. There's so many factors that can cause people to be fearful. So you have what is called general anxiety, right? So we have a disorder that is called general anxiety disorder when people are fearful. People who are warriors, you know those people who are warriors. You have a mom who's a warrior.
Oh, yeah.
My mom is a warrior, right? If I'm she lives in Kingston. If I'm leaving Kingston and go to Mandeville, 10 minutes into the drive, she calls. You have to check in with her.
Yes.
Is she okay? I tell people I can't swim as I would love to swim, and I blame my mom for that, because when we as children we usually go to the beach. As the water reach your ankle.
Stop.
Yeah, you gotta stop. Don't go any further. Stay right there.
I cannot.
You can identify. And so as a result of that, I never get the chance to learn to swim as a child growing up, because my mom will not allow us to go. She just have that fear. I think she cares. She extra in her caring, so she wants to make sure that you're safe. If you're traveling, I'm a big man, and if I'm traveling to Mandeville, I have to check in with her because she's calling. How is it on the road? How far you reach? Call me when you reach, that kind of stuff. So she worries a lot. Other people, they're yeah. That's correct. So the worrier, the people who tend to worry, tend to have a little bit more anxiety because of the fear factor, and the fear factor gives them no rest. So you have those who are what we call, we'll put in general anxiety disorder, and then you have people who have particular fear of something specific, all right, like what we call a phobia. People fear of flying. People fear of insects. Yes, you have the particular phobia. People fear of injection needle and all that kind of stuff. They freak out when they see certain type of stuff. So you have those specific phobias. Then you have panic attacks. People who have panic disorder, they have a series of panic attacks, one after the other. So when you have a series of panic attacks and you are fearful that you're going to have another attack, you're really going into what we call a panic disorder, right? So people do have panic disorders where their hand becomes sweaty, their heart is hard to breathe, their breathing become irregular, their chest get tightened, they're having cold sweat, and they swear they're having a heart attack. And many people rush to the hospital and nothing like that happened. They say, oh, it's just a panic disorder you have. So that's another kind of anxiety. You have people who are what we call social anxiety disorder. That's another category where people are just fearful of socializing. Yes, they don't like public speech. You bring them to a party, they sit in a corner by themselves. It is fearful to go on a date. They're trembling when they go on a date. And other people, they're the life of the party. They just enjoy it. Bring me into the party and I'm good to go. While others are trembling when they go into somebody new. So you have these different types of anxiety, a whole long list. You go into things like, a lot of people hear about PTSD, right?
Yes.
Post-traumatic stress disorder. That's another type of anxiety where somebody was exposed to something traumatic and it affects their mind and their brain. So they are easily triggered by it. If a dog bites you, for example, or bites you up and you have to go to the hospital, then every time you see a dog or hear a dog, you remember that. You have flashes, right? You have dreams, you have flashbacks, you have nightmares. People avoid going into those areas where they have those traumatic situations. You can talk about domestic violence, for example. A lot of people have PTSD coming out of a domestic violence situation, right? Right, exactly. And so it affects their ability to have another relationship.
Yeah.
Because the minute they're in another relationship and the man gets angry, oh, it's a whole other
So they
trigger.
start again.
Yeah. That's a cut. So they're completely out of it. And so when these fears, these anxious fears, begin to interfere with your normal functioning of your life, that's when we categorize it as a disorder. All right? So just think about it. It's okay to be anxious, it's okay to be fearful, it's normal. But when they're interfering with your daily life, when you can't eat or you can't sleep or you can't function at work, yes, then you realize, no, this is not okay, this is not normal. Then you know you're in the ambit of a disorder. Yeah.
That is eye-opening.
Yep.
So, how would I be able to, let's say that I am having, like you said before, a person may be having a panic attack and they will swear they're having a heart attack, so they rush to the hospital. How do I know when my depression is severe? Would it be that I have to can't function?
Yeah.
Are there telltale signs that I know, well, you have come out of the realm of okay
Yes.
to the realm that you need to see somebody?
Yes.
How do I know when I've crossed that bridge?
Yes. So, for example, that's a very good question. So, when the symptoms, okay, let's say people get depressed. The average person get depressed every now and then based on certain things that maybe they hear on news, for example, they're depressed, or they didn't pass their exam and they feel depressed, or they are not treated right at work, right? And they feel so people have various reasons to feel down and out, and it's okay. It may last for a day or two, and it blows off, so to speak, and you're back to normal. When it sets in, when you can't shake it, right? When you can't shake it, when you realize it's affecting your sleep, for example, all right? And that's also, I'm going to put anxiety is one of the prime culprit that affects your sleep, much more than depression. Some people will sleep a lot in depression, but in anxiety, they just sleep and sleep and sleep and sleep. But let's stay with the depression first. So when these depressive feelings start to interfere with your life, so you don't want to go to church if you usually go to church, or you don't want to go to work, or you don't want to see anybody, you don't have no energy to do anything. When some people even have what we call psychotic features with the depression, that is to say, they're either hearing voices, or they're becoming, or they're hallucinating, or they start to believe some things that are not real. We call it delusion. Those are severe symptoms of severe depression. So whenever it starts to interfere with your normal function, and somebody comes and say, Connie, this is not you. This, people who know you're the life of you walk in a room and you light up the room, and they say, no, this is not you. You need to check yourself out. That's a good sign that something is happening. Yes, because this is no longer normal depression. And it is important that when it begins to interfere with your life, whether you as an adult or even as your child, right? Your child may feel depressed. The child is not engaging in schoolwork, they're not socializing with their friends, they're not coming out to watch TV with the family, they're isolating, they're not talking to anybody, they're just locked by themselves, and you begin to see they're not bathing, their personal hygiene has fallen. All of that, those are symptoms, because when people are depressed, they lack energy, both physical energy and mental energy, right? Both types of energy go when they're depressed. So things like brushing their teeth, they don't have no desire to brush their teeth. They don't have desire to comb their hair. They don't have desire to look good. Whatever will be. They just don't care. When you have a child or a spouse who is experiencing that, or you yourself begin to experience that, that is time to seek help. Because the next thing that may very, very well happen is the feeling of, I am not worthy to be here. Nobody wants me. Nobody loves me. What's my contribution to life?
What am I leaving behind, really, kind of.
So the sense of hopelessness.
Yeah.
And for us as clinicians, that's a red flag for us, right? When a person says, I feel hopeless, that's when we say, okay, all the antennas are up,
Yeah.
because this person is not on good grounds. Because hopelessness leads to suicidal ideation. Depression is renowned, right? It is renowned to bring on suicidal thoughts. And suicidal thoughts come in what we call in two categories, we call them. One we call passive and one we call active, right? So the passive thoughts will go something like this. Well, I have no use around here. Nobody would miss me if I'm not around. I'm just a burden to my family. Maybe if I wasn't here, mom and dad would be doing better. Maybe if I wasn't here, my family wouldn't have to go through the embarrassment. Those are passive thoughts. They are not saying I'm going to kill myself, but they begin to consider
Yeah.
the possibility of I'm not here. So when you hear people saying something like that, you really want to take it
Step it
serious.
out.
Yeah, because it starts there.
yeah.
Especially if that person has been experiencing depression and you notice the change in their
Changes in
behavior.
their attitude. Yeah.
The passive thoughts, that's the passive. The active suicidal thoughts that may come with depression is one that says, I want to die.
leave.
Yes, I want to leave. I want to get away here. I'm going to kill myself.
And they'll probably try.
And they will try, precisely. They will try. They will come up with a plan. They'll sit in their room or wherever they are.
Yeah.
And they say, okay, if I'm going to die, I'm going to plan to do that. And they will come up with details of the plan, right? And so any of those two types of suicidal thought can come up with a person who is depressed. And so that's why we don't dismiss, oh, he's just depressed. You know, some people make light of it. No, don't do that. Person is feeling, even if you yourself are feeling depressed, don't dismiss it, because it tends to grow worse and it can move quickly into very bad territory. Right? So you really want to take note of it.
Very interesting. When we come back, I want to ask Dr. O'Connor, where does God stand in this scenario?
Yeah.
How medication works, when it's time to take medication, what is the best outcome when we come back after this break? Stay tuned, don't go anywhere. But if you have any questions and you want to ask Dr. O'Connor, please send them in the link and we will chat. Join me this and every Tuesday at 7 to 8:30 p.m. as we discuss various interesting topics and take a look at the current happenings on our island and in our region. Just before you go on your bed, let's touch on the points with your host, Connie J.E., right here on Flashpoint Radio. Join me this and every Tuesday as we discuss various interesting topics and take a look at the current happenings on our island and in our region. Just before you go on your bed, let's touch on the points with your host, Connie J.E., right here on Flashpoint Radio. Need it fast, need it quick? Then let Breezemill Rent-A-Car blow their amazing affordable deals your way. Cars of all sizes with weekly, monthly, along with daily rentals of $25 per day. They're reliable, dependable, with friendly staff, free pickup and delivery. You can't get it any better than this. Call us at 936-1177 and allow Breezemill Rent-A-Car to blow the wind of hassle on its way. Breezemill Rent-A-Car. It's a breeze of a deal. Conditions apply. Join me this and every Tuesday at 7 to 8:30 p.m. as we discuss various interesting topics and take a look at the current happenings on our island and in our region. Just before you go your bed, let's touch on the points with your host, Connie J.E., right here on Flashpoint Radio.
When you need ultrasound that's safe and effective, you must visit Asai Ultrasound Imaging. They're conveniently located at number 4 Chestnut Center, Smith Road, Georgetown, Cayman Islands. With experienced technologists with over 20 years experience, their friendly staff will make you comfortable while you get your procedure done. Asai Ultrasound Imaging is open Mondays to Fridays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturdays. Call Asai Ultrasound Imaging 345-949-2454 or 345-938-3426. That's 345-949-2454 or 345-938-3426.
Yes, welcome back to Just Before You Got Your Bed. In studios with me, Pastor Dr. Shion O'Connor. And we're talking about understanding anxiety and depression. And he touched on some key points to the fact of how you can identify when you're spiraling, when it's time to get help, and just to know the severity, and that depression does happen. We all experience it at some point in time, but it should be in, short bursts, if I could use that terminology myself. But when you find that it's affecting your daily life, your functions at work, and you find that you're getting in that dark place, or if you're having that passive or active suicidal thought, yes, this is time when you seek help. But Pastor O'Connor, I wanted to find out from you. Now I know that I am experiencing depression. Mm-hmm. I know I'm experiencing the depression. And I know I should get help. Family, friends, they say, something is wrong. You're not yourself. How do I come out? How do I go to get the help when I'm already comfortable now in this new reality for me, this dark place?
Yeah, that's a very good question, because The person who is depressed and severely depressed, and I use the word severely depressed, tend to want to remain left by themselves. They will want to remain in that state of depression. They want just leave me alone. They don't want nobody to disturb them. It is usually family members who will have to take that initiative to say, no, you're not okay, and try and get help for the individuals. Many times it is family members who will call the office to make appointment on behalf of the person, because the depressed person is not going to go online and go into this website or take up any phone and call. Yeah, they're really not. In fact, so because one, there's no motive. When you're depressed, you lose all motivation, all desire to do anything like that. And so if you have a family member, you have a spouse or a parent or a brother or an uncle or a neighbor or friends or co-workers, somebody who is there to kind of push you along or take the initiative to drive you to the session or to make the appointments on your behalf. Left by yourself, most people will not do that. Most people will spiral deeper down into the depression. Yes, and sometimes they reach the end of the line where they end up taking their own life. And friends says, man, I wish I had done something before that. So I would really want to encourage people, once you're experiencing any kind of depression, do not treat it lightly. Once you realize something is not right here, seek help. The same way, see, this is the problem. It's just, Connie, it's just now more and more people are appreciating mental health. Because before, if you have a pain, right, in your stomach, or a pain in your back, or a pain in your head, or 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, you're gonna go to the doctor to check. Yeah, you gotta check that out.
Check something.
Yeah, but if somebody feels depressed 1 day, 2 days, they ain't going to the doctor. No, they ignore that, and I'm saying don't ignore that, because it means that's not you, right? Unless you can clearly identify the cause of the depression. For example, women are much more likely to be affected by depression than men. In fact, both depression and anxiety. Not just that, most mood disorders, all right, women are more affected because of their hormone flows, right? So, for example, one of the popular depression is postpartum depression, where women tend to go into very serious depression after the birth of their child. So we know that that is associated with the birth of their child. And so family members will help them to come out of it. Sometimes it can be very, very severe for some women. All I'm saying is, once you realize you're not yourself, you're not enjoying life how you used to, you're not functioning how you used to, you're not thinking, you lose memory, you lose organizational skills, you're intolerant, you're becoming very anxious, you want to be back, you're isolating, it is time to get help. Yeah. So family members, if you see people in your family like that, you may need to be the one to reach out and get help on their behalf.
Be that hand.
Be that, yes.
Absolutely. So, Pastor, I want to find out now. I believe in God. I realize that in society today, many persons veer from the reality of God. So when they're trying to treat, so, I'm putting all the steps in place for recovery, God doesn't seem to fit into that mold. And I want to find out from you, what's your take on that? What do you believe? Should we not put God in there? What role does he play in the recovery of anxiety, depression, all of that? And does he fit the mold for treatment?
Yes. So I really love that question. And I'll tell you why. There are a number of reasons. Not just from a pastoral perspective, but let me put that aside. If I go strictly academic perspective, I remember during my training, the idea of faith as a part of your treatment started to surface in training. And this is very important, because years ago it was not respected. right? They would say, oh, no, you don't need to bring that in. But now, scientists are now recognizing the value of faith in the process of healing and of healing for anything.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, right. Because, in Jamaica there's a saying, believe kills and believe cures, right? You know what? Believe cure, yeah. There are some folks who, they have so much faith, all right, in God, right, that their faith in God is a substantial source of their belief. And it's not just a Bible story, it's a reality.
Yeah,
right?
yes.
We have had the reason why people are still praying to God, right? Just think about this. The only reason why people are still praying, let me put another way, man. I don't want to preach here, but the only reason why praying is still relevant in a modern society, is still effective in a modern society, is still popular in a modern society, is because it works, right? In other words, if praying did not work, we would have done that long time ago, right? That would not survive. It would never survive the 21st century.
True.
If people had found out that this thing don't work, this thing is a bedtime story thing, then we would not be doing that. We do it now because people have living testimony that prayer works. And so in the process of healing, when somebody says, I believe in God and I believe in prayer, then the clinician, the physician, has to bring that belief system that the client has or that the patient has into the healing process. So praying for them is so important. I remember the first time I did a colonoscopy here in the Cayman Islands. Yeah, the first time I did it with my doctor. My doctor knelt at my bedside. He set up the instrument and the television screen and all the camera, and everything was ready. And before they put me out, the anesthetics, before they gave me the anesthetics, my doctor knelt at my bedside and he says, I'm gonna pray. Is it okay if I pray with you before I do it?
Wow.
What? That thing blew me away. Never in my lifetime has a doctor ever done that to me. And that, as a Christian myself, that was so amazing to me. Yeah. And I
put you at ease
you put me at ease.
Mentally,
Yes. So there are clients that I have that I know are spiritual, and so I will pray with them as a part of the healing process. There are others that are not Christian, and so they may not believe in God, so I don't push that on them. But once a person believes in God, critical piece of the healing process, because at the end of the day, it's not your medication or your skill. The healing comes from God. Yes, and the wisdom that God gives you. To say to the client, do this or do that, is critical to the part of healing. So that's a beautiful. You have to bring that in. Yes, definitely.
So would you then say, or would I be wrong in saying then, that mental illness is triggered by the influence of the enemy? So, like, put it raw Jamaican, demon, demon possession.
That's a good question. And here's a reason why it's a good question. Because in different cultures of the world, a person who is experiencing mental health disorders, such as the more severe disorders, the more psychotic disorders, like schizophrenia, right? They hear voices, or they believe that somebody's after them to kill them, or people with severe anxiety or severe depression. There's a tendency in some cultures to associate the symptoms of those mental health disorder with demon possession. Now, one of the privileges that I have had as a pastor and as a clinical psychologist is that I have seen demon possession in real time, in my pastoral work. And I've seen mental health disorder symptoms in real time. And they are completely different. Yeah. Oh, yeah. A mental health disorder should not be confused with a demon possessed person. Okay, a demon possessed person tend to have some symptoms, such as very strong, right? And they have they have supernatural strength. Yeah. I remember doing a campaign in Montego Bay, evangelist campaign in Montego Bay once, 2014 or 2013, I don't remember. And there was a little girl, she was about 13, 14, slim, very slim girl, little something, maybe weighing 85 pounds or so. And let me tell you, that girl had a demon possession. In fact, when I came to the tent that night to preach, they bring me around here. I said, come, we have a case. And when around there, I saw about 6, 7 deacons around with her. They're praying with her. And this girl had such strength. It took about 7 men to hold her down in place because she was reeling. And I mean, strength beyond what is normal. So that's one of the clear signs. People with depression don't have, no, they don't have that kind of thing. They're very angry with what we call, in Jamaica call it frat, or mouth, foaming at your mouth. The foaming at the mouth, the eye rolling over, this crazy look, this changing voice, precisely, complete changing. Those are not symptoms of depression, anxiety, or schizophrenia. Right? Those are clear demon symptoms. Yeah. So yeah. But I do know that, especially in the rural areas, people tend to, when they do have clinical symptoms, they misinterpret them as demon possession. These are not demon possession. You really need to get help for individuals who are anxious, who are jittery, who can't sleep in the night. Because depression, especially with anxiety, because you worry so much, when you go to your bed, your brain is not resting. The brain is still firing, still thinking about a million things, still worrying. What's going to happen here? What's going to happen here? Should I have done that? Should I have done that? So things like OCD, right? People with OCD are people who are very much, their brain does not shut down. They have intrusive thoughts that keep repeating over and over, and they have obsessed. That's what we call obsessive compulsive disorder. They're obsessed with certain things. So, and because of the obsession, they feel compelled to do something to release the obsession that they have. So, for example, if they have a fear of maybe insecurity, maybe somebody's going to break into the house, right? They go to their bed, they check the door, they go to their, and they get up and say, you know what, did I check? Let me double check again. And 15 minutes, maybe I didn't check the top lock. Let me go check the top lock. And they come back. And so that obsession keeps them up in the night. That's another form of anxiety. So anxiety can take in various forms. So people lose a lot of sleep when they are anxious because their brain the brains do not shut off. And losing sleep, that's going to affect your ability to function tomorrow. Yes, you become irritable, you get tired, you get, and so you begin to have a breakdown, right? And that's why it is so important that once we identify these abnormal behaviors, out of norm behavior, that we address them.
So you've just touched on basically the myth and misconception, because for a long time, we when we talk about mental health, it wasn't like, okay, you have the flu, you have an illness, check it out. We always think mental health is you're eating under the garbage.
Yes, precisely.
You know,
precisely.
And so that was a myth, and now we're embracing the idea that just as though you have flu, you can have just one of them bad mental days that you just need some help and you need that little space.
A lot of stuff. I'm happy you mentioned that. The causes, okay? You're hitting on a very good point. Sometimes scientists are still trying to settle on the causes of some of these mental disorders. Simple thing like depression or anxiety. We do know of a fact that there's a genetic portion in it, so that if you have parents who suffer from these, or family members who suffer from any of these, there's a genetic piece that you yourself can suffer from that, right? There's brain imbalances in the chemicals of your brain that has nothing to do with you per se or the life you live. It's just one of those factors of life. There are situations that can cause it, right? Childhood, adverse childhood experience. Oh man, let's say your mom had to work and so they put you with somebody else to grow up and they ill-treat you as a child. Or even your own parents will ill-treat you as a child. Then adverse childhood experience come back in adulthood to create this kind of harm, mental health harm on you. So a number of factors can happen that can contribute to people having anxiety, people having depression. And so there's nothing to be afraid of. As you mentioned, the folks who associate mental health with eating all the garbage. I had a classical experience that stuck with me. When I was working on my practicum, I think I was on my master's degree doing my practicum. I was in Montego Bay running an evangelistic campaign, but doing my practicum at a clinic during the days. And at that clinic, I was just telling somebody this today, at that clinic, it was run by an NGO, a non-government organization in Montego Bay. And what they would do, they would collect all the street people, the guys who eat out of the garbage, living on the street, that we call madmen, madmen and madwomen. They would collect them, take them to a particular place, shower them, hose them down with water, trim their hair, right? Clean them up and give them a clothes to wear, and then bring them to this center where they would get lunch, and after lunch they're going to group session with us as clinicians. And so so that was very, very eventful for me, because I learned a lot. Because I came with the assumption, growing up in Jamaica, I came with these people are mad people. Anybody eating on the street, they're out of the garbage are mad people. So when I went there and I learned about the program and they introduced me to the program, I had about 16 of them in my group, and I started to interact with them. I was blown away. These guys were very sensible. Their minds were intact. Their speeches were coherent. I was blown away. There was nothing I could associate with them that I could call insanity. And then
nothing wrong with it.
No, I remembered a famous psychiatrist we have in Jamaica, Dr. Agre Irons. He was one of the best in Jamaica. I think he died now. And I remember him on a radio program saying, most of the folks you see on the street, eating from the garbage, living on the street, dirty and unkept, he says, they are not mad, they are sad. Whoa. Yeah, and this was a top psychiatrist in Jamaica. He said, many of them, they are not mad, they are sad. And it is when I met that group, I realized what he meant by that. What was common among all of them? They had no family. They had absolutely no family. Their family abandoned them. Those that had family came out of their depression very easily, because they're interacting precisely. They're interacting, they have socializing, and if they went down, they get. But even those who may have dabbled with marijuana, and marijuana may have affected them, because you do have chemical-induced depression, right? Or chemical-induced anxiety, or chemical-induced psychosis. Even those, when they have family members who care for them, who they can come home and talk and interact, these people get better very quickly. The people who have absolutely no family abandon them, they don't talk to nobody, they don't have no friend, they are the one who go off and they disintegrate. And so I realized then that these guys are really not mad as we consider mad people to be.
They're sad.
They are sad. They have no. So that program changed them. turned them around because they now had something to look forward to in the days.
Yes.
And part of the program, they were to do some planting. They went out and they plant vegetables and they take care of their garden. Yeah. And so what that does, it gives them a purpose in life and a structure. And part of treatment plan for somebody who is depressed is a daily structure, a structure of their life. What you don't want them to do is they have no work to go, they have no school to go,
Don't want time on
they
their
have
hand.
no time. You don't want them with time on their hand. You want them to be able to have active duties during the course of the day. Even if you have to volunteer, go volunteer for a couple of hours. Give purpose to their life, and you see how quickly they bounce back into society.
So that is interesting.
It is very
because now we're here outside and we're looking in, and as you break it down, they are not mad; they are sad.
Yes.
And you can see it, and this is where you can even realize that no man was meant to be alone.
No, that is why God says it's not good for man to be alone. Right?
You have to go marry because I don't want to depress.
It's not good for man to be alone.
Absolutely.
God did say that.
Yeah.
There's a reason why the designer says so. In fact, you're drawing me into preaching because here's a part here. Have you noticed that God made nothing singular?
That's right.
Everything is in pair. All the animals are in pair.
Yes.
All insects, birds, everything. God made them in pairs.
Yes.
Right? So He did with human beings.
That's
It is
right.
not God's design that anything should be by itself.
Isolation.
Yep, in isolation.
That's
So
right.
that brings sadness.
Yes.
That brings depression. Just think about it. Doesn't matter. I was sharing this with somebody today. When God told Adam that, Adam had every possible thing you could think of to make him happy. Right? The whole world was his. Flowers and
All the
trees and
toys.
everything he needed. He was in paradise.
Yes.
Right? And yet still all of those things would not make him happy.
His face fell.
Yes.
Countenance dropped.
So it says no matter what we have in life, money, job, position, education, somebody says your degree can't keep you warm in the night.
Oh, that's true, eh?
Think about
That's
that.
true.
It is at the end of the day, everybody needs
Need someone to
somebody.
come home to.
Yes.
And that's the thing.
Yeah.
It is such a comforting feeling when you have someone to come home
When
to.
you have somebody
Somebody's
to come
waiting
home.
on you. Somebody
Yep.
wants to be where you are.
Yes.
Somebody desires you.
Yep.
So absolutely, I can see. If you are alone, then here the influence
Yes.
of the enemy really take you into depression.
Yes.
And but if you have structure, I love that.
Yeah.
And I find too that a lot of persons testify about gardening,
Yes.
coming out into nature,
Yes.
seeing things grow, and all of that helps the mental health. And I find indeed, again, as you said, the master designer made a plan. And what I've realized is, Pastor O'Connor, is that once we divert from the
that
blueprint,
yes, you're from
it's
the-
just
Yep,
chaos.
yep. The statistics are out there, People who are alone die earlier. Yeah. Loneliness is another disease that is affecting the modern world. And the statistics are there. People who are alone, who live alone, tend to die earlier. Right?
Oh, yes.
Because God didn't design us
Us to
that way.
be
We're
alone.
social beings. Worse if you're a woman, right? Worse if you're a female. Because female are designed to care and share
Yes.
and interact
And look after
and look
things.
after something.
Yes.
So many female feel constipated because they don't have anybody to look after. There's so much they have to give, and there's nobody to give it to.
Right.
That can set into severe depression.
Yeah.
And so what do? They throw themselves into work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so work becomes the substitute. right?
Substitute for
But
the
then-
partner.
Yes, but then that has
Its side effects as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
So, Pastor Connor, do you see now any treatment that's revolutionary,
Yeah.
that's coming on stream, that that has been now more effective than in the past?
Yes, there, from two perspectives. From the perspective of medications, right? And from the perspective of natural medicines, the original medication and natural medicine. There are a number. If some people prefer to take the medications which are popular out there, antidepressant and anti-anxiety medications, and that's fine. There are some very safe ones that are now on the market compared to years ago, right?
Yeah.
In the 40s and the 50s, yeah, those medications, were really terrible, right?
Yeah.
Now they have made some very, very safe medications, what we call SSRIs, right? And those tend to be very, very, very safe. So there's no major side effects. Yeah, the side effects in them are minimal. So there are some safe ones out there. As it relates to natural remedy, quite interestingly, also there are researches that have come up with brilliant evidence-based solution. So, for example, years ago, decades ago, in the 40s and the 50s, they used to build these large asylums, right, and put all the crazy people they think in those large asylums, right? And they're in there for weeks, and they would pump them with drugs, and they go in there, they go in with symptoms, and they come out worse. Some of them don't come out alive at all. And so these mega asylums, what we call madhouses, right, used to be the main source of treatment. You see some in those old movies, you can see some of those people get scared up, right?
Shock treatment and
Exactly.
all of these things, yeah.
Now they've moved away from that. Here's where the break came. Somebody discovered that if they allow the inmates, if they allow them, and I think they did a trial with this, and it worked brilliantly. I think it's in the 60s, if my memory serves me right, came across this, where they created a garden, right? And they allow the inmates to get out certain hours of the day, out of the asylum, and to do the gardening, right? For certain hours of the day, and bring them back in. And they realize the huge shift in the responses of these inmates, and they realize, oh, we're onto something here. So now that's the foundation that gives us the treatment plan to include structure in these patients' life, right? Rather than having them locked up in a hospital room for days, right? You give them structure. You give them assignments to do. You bring them out to do a little gardening,
Going outside,
or the volunteers in the community, or something that will bring structure in their life, and you see how quickly they will bounce back into normal society.
And now it makes sense, because if you're taking someone and putting them into isolation, and then they're not seeing the world, they're locked away, they have no purpose. I'm gonna go deeper.
They're gonna go
because
deeper.
I'm here because I felt like I didn't have purpose, so I'm going down. So you can see that all of that, and isn't God good?
Right.
Nature in itself, your interaction keeps you mentally well.
Exactly, and so when a person comes for treatment, the clinician is likely to have a list, what we call a treatment plan. So we have a list of things that we will be employing in helping the person overcome some of these symptoms. Not just the medication. Okay, a lot of people come in and say, I don't want to take medication, right? And they don't have to take medication unless unless it is so severe where they are suicidal, right? And we feel that, okay, medication may be necessary in these circumstances, and it's not for in a long period of time. It's for probably, maybe a couple of weeks, and then the psychiatrist would prescribe the medication, and they work with the psychologist for psychotherapy. So we do a combination of psychotherapy and medication. the ideal is to get them off medication as quickly as possible, right? To get them back into psychotherapy. So things like a good exercise program is definitely going to be on a treatment plan. Proper sleep hygiene is definitely going to be on a treatment plan. Proper eating, proper dieting is definitely going to be on a treatment plan. So social support system that you have, definitely going to be on a treatment plan. So these are some of the things that the clinician or the psychologist will try to put together so that we bring you back to normality.
All right, you heard it here. So we're going to go now to a commercial break, and when we come back, Pastor O'Connor's final thoughts and advice to you. Stay tuned. And I'm asking you, for those of you who are joining now and you haven't subscribed, click on that link. Subscribe, like, and share. Tell your friends. And here's a good thing. If you missed the early portion of Pastor O'Connor's advice, don't worry. It is there. We've recorded it. All right? Stay tuned. Locked in with me, Connie J.E., just before you go to your bed. We'll be right back. Join me this and every Tuesday at 7 to 8:30 p.m. as we discuss various interesting topics and take a look at the current happenings on our island and in our region. Just before you go to your bed, let's touch on the points with your host, Connie J.E., right here on Flashpoint Radio.
To build your dream home or renovate your space, M&M Construction is the perfect place. We bring your vision to life with precision and quality craftsmanship. From design to construction, we guide you every step, ensuring seamless coordination and superior results. Our professional roof inspection and maintenance services will ensure that your roof is sturdy this hurricane season. So, if you are ready to start your construction journey, call us today at 345-927-7509. Build with confidence. Build with M&M Construction. 345-927-7509.
Join me this and every Tuesday at 7 to 8:30 p.m. as we discuss various interesting topics and take a look at the current happenings on our island and in our region. Just before you go to your bed, let's touch on the points with your host, Connie J.E., right here on Flashpoint Radio. Yes, welcome back to Just Before You Go to Your Bed. I'm your host, Connie J.E. In studios with me, the doctor himself, Pastor Shion O'Connor. We're breaking down the myths. We're talking about and getting the understanding of anxiety and depression. And let me tell you something, a lot of things have been open to us tonight. And we're seeing the correlation of isolation, coming away from the blueprint of the Creator that causes the chaos. And we do understand we have an enemy, and he doesn't want us to be good. And we're realizing now, and scientists have the statistics out, people are dying, people are suffering. And I realize, however, that on the upside, those who have their faith in God thrive better than those without. So, Pastor Dr. Shion O'Connor, I don't know if I should put the doctor before the pastor before the doctor.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Your final thoughts and advice to our listeners, because I'm telling you, this is so big, and we've basically just kind of scraped the icing off the cake, you know? So you would definitely have to come back so we can dig deeper. But talk to our listeners.
So let me bring in that faith piece in it, because I'm looking at a text here from Psalm chapter 37th division of the Psalm, verse 8, and you would have thought that a psychologist wrote this. So here's what it says: cease from anger, forsake wrath. Then it says, then there's a semicolon. Then it says, do not fret. It only causes harm. Just think about it. Do not fret. Yeah. Meaning fear.
Yes.
Yeah. From which we get anxiety. Yes. It only causes harm. But, and I think there's another. Yes, verse 7. The verse before it says, rest in the Lord. I love this verse. And this is clinical stuff. It says, rest in the Lord. And this is for you, Connie. And wait patiently for Him.
I will wait patiently. I won't go by the airport.
You won't go by the airport.
I won't go by the airport.
Rest in the Lord.
Yes.
And wait patient for Him. Do not fret because of him who prosper in his ways. Right? So this, I think this is a good place to land on. People who have their trust in God, when you learn to put your trust in God, then that should still the waters in your life. In other words, that should remove the fear. Yeah, if you have and it's amazing how church people, they say they trust God, but they still, they really struggle to actually trust in God, because if you trust in God, you still walk away fretting. No.
Yeah, that's true.
The servant of the Lord, Ellen White, wrote, worry is sin. Right. So once we worry, it means that we don't believe God can help us. So my counsel to anybody out there is, if you know God and you have a relationship with God, the text Psalm says, rest in the Lord. And I like the word rest. Yes. Rest in the Lord. Leave it in His care. Let Him take care of it, right? And don't go to your bed and start to worry. No. Lord, I leave it into your hand. Whatever will happen, you know best. If we put more practicality of what we believe in our God, then we would not have some of these diseases, mental health disease that we have. And number two, if you find yourself struggling with any of these symptoms, seek help. Yeah. If you realize you can't help yourself, don't stay there and, as I would say, sink into depression, spiral into depression. No, seek help. It's not going to just get better by itself.
Yeah.
Yes, seek help. Family members who are out there, if you see your family members that are changing and the symptoms that we talk about, and you know something is not right here. You know, I remember people will walk into my office and say, listen, Doc, can you check my daughter here because something is not right? Or can you check my son, something is not right? Or something has gone wrong with how I think, how I believe, what is happening to me. I recommend, here's my final point. And this just came to me the other day. Every year, when you pass certain age, there's a general recommendation that you do annual medical checkup.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. I think they say under 30 or under 40, somewhere you do it every 2 years.
Right,
But
yes.
when you after passing
After
40,
past 40,
yeah,
50 there, you want to do it every
every
year.
year. Good.
Yeah.
What does that medical checkup is designed for? It's designed to catch anything that may be happening.
Adverse,
So you do
yeah.
a lot of screening.
Yes.
Right? Those are not treatment, those are screening. Blood works, they test
Yes.
blood works, and they do ultrasound and they do all that kind of stuff. Mammograms and all that kind of stuff. Screening. Have you noticed? They do mammograms, they do blood works, they do cardio, they check your heart, they check your eye, they check everything.
And they check your sugar.
Check your sugar level, everything. But they have not checked your mental health. Mental health is not a part of the annual checkup. Why? See, and that's something that we now need to get
On the books.
On the books.
Yes.
That when we're going to do our regular medical checkup, we also do a mental health checkup to see if I'm okay, if all is well. And then you'll be able to pick up some of these diseases before they become severe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you're talking to your medical doctor, you know, and you get teary-eyed, and you say, "What? I just feel sick."
Yeah.
It could be.
It could be.
You just need
That's
one
correct.
little something for the headache.
That is correct.
So, Pastor, I'm going through this, and I realize that okay, I need to talk with someone. I need to talk with you, my listeners. And they're like, okay, how do we get to you?
Okay, that's a good question. So I carry my card.
Beautiful.
Yes, yes,
Let me hold and show them while they use the other one.
Yes. So anybody would like to reach out to us, we are at the Institute for Essential Care. That's the name of our office. And the website is caymanessentialcare.com. You can jump on it right now and check out all the clinicians that are there, the services that we provide. That is caymanessentialcare.com. We do in-person services as well as online services. So we cover most mental health disorders. We deal with that. So mental health assessment, treatment, diagnosis and treatment. For most of the disorders that we have things like mood disorder, personality disorder, psychotic disorders, all of those areas, as well as family and relational. So premarital counseling, marital counseling, divorce counseling. People who decide, I'm finished, I'm done, I want a divorce. We said we provide a counseling for you because you need to be able to sit through that. And so people who are getting married and you want to do premarital counseling, let us know. You're having problem in your relationship, let us know. So we provide all of that as well as educational services. So we have an educational psychologist on board. So if you have learning disorders, behavioral disorders, we provide that kind of treatment as well, workshops and seminars. So whole long list of treatment there. The website again, caymanessentialcare.com. You can go online and book your appointment, and we'll be happy to see you there.
Thank you so much, Pastor O'Connor, for being with us tonight. We've touched on such a unique area within our mental health, anxiety, and depression. And I'm sure for myself, it has been such a eye-opener, more understanding. And I'm sure for my listeners, they too have experienced, more information on what it is. And for me, touching on the myth, it takes away that anxiety, that fear that I need to talk to somebody about. The fear in my head. So the fear has gone to take away the fear that creates that anxiety. And it is so amazing and how God has given persons the gift, because this is what you have gotten, and by the power of the Holy Spirit, you're able to assist others in getting back into that place where God wants us to be. Thank you so much.
Amen. It's ministry at its best.
Yes, indeed. I'm telling you. Because overall, we know that our mental health is what is the link of striving and thriving as a human being to live this life, to be happy in it. But you can't be happy in it, I believe, without the Holy Spirit, because He brings that peace. And for those of you who may not understand, I want you to hear something. God says what He means. He doesn't waste words. I've learned over the years, God doesn't waste words. Neither does He mince them. And what He says, He means, and He will do what He says. And I remember God saying that, I know the plans I have for you.
Yes.
That you be in good health and that you prosper. So I know God is not wasting words just to fill a book or just to put words on a page. God means that for you. Tonight, I hope that you understand the difference between anxiety and depression. And I'm praying that if you're experiencing any of these, even for a prolonged period of time, reach out. Here, Dr. O'Connor is here, his team is here, right here in the Cayman Islands to help you. And here's the good thing, that even if you are out of the Cayman Islands, they offer online services. Get to someone. My preference would be someone who is anchored in Christ, that will use the template of God to make you better. Until next time, I wish for you and from our family here at Flashpoint to yours that all things will work together for good because you love the Lord. And remember, He that started a good work in you is faithful to complete it to the end. I will see you next time, right here, same time, same place. Connie J.E. out just before you go to bed. Join me this and every Tuesday at 7 to 8:30 p.m. as we discuss various interesting topics and take a look at the current happenings on our island and in our region. Just before you go to your bed, let's touch on the points with your host, Connie J.E., right here on Flashpoint Radio. Join me this and every Tuesday as we discuss various interesting topics and take a look at the current happenings on our island and in our region. Just before you go your bed, let's touch on the points with your host, Connie J.E., right here on Flashpoint Radio.